What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we are going to be redoing the Bears 7-round mock draft with an awesome guest request from one of my subs, Cooper, DaWindyCity Productions. Feel free to introduce yourself, give yourself a shout out.
What's up, guys? I'm Rashab. I own DaWindyCity Productions. I'm a big Bears fan, big Bears channel. I know, some of you guys probably watch me, and I can't wait to do a mock draft here with Alex. It's gonna be a lot of
Awesome.
fun.
Dude, I'm excited. Super excited. As you guys can see, I am displaying the trade that we just made. We did a double trade, Houston as well as Carolina. We've been able to acquire multiple first-round picks via those trades. And then the more complex one I decided to keep up on here so that you guys get to see the breakdown. I'm going to start it, and we're going to let RNG control the rest. Based on our pick number 9, what are the guys that you would be mainly targeting in a perfect world? Obviously not the most perfect one where Will Anderson is here, but besides that, what would you be looking at?
Yeah, so any offensive lineman, any receivers I would be looking at, maybe not any receiver because I'm not a big fan of the receivers beyond JSN, just a personal opinion. So any offensive lineman, obviously, any edge rushers available, like a Tyree Wilson. I'm not sure if he'd be available at number 9. Probably not. If he is, then we can take him. But honestly, the Bears roster needs so much help where you cannot go wrong with picking any position, but you should be looking at like the positions that we need very badly that we're probably not going to address in like a free agency. So
so this actually fell very well because we have the option of Tyree Wilson, JSN, as well as Paris Johnson. So we're being able to choose whichever we want. And I want to put in my idea for Paris Johnson. One, I'm not a huge Paris Johnson guy myself, but I also like to blend realism. We all know Paris Johnson will probably be the first tackle off the board with those 36-inch arms. But I know the tackle class is super weak. There's no guarantee that we're going to get another tackle if we don't pass on Paris Johnson or if we do pass on him. So I feel like Tyree Wilson's awesome, but at the same time, I kind of want to make sure that Justin Fields is protected and we have pretty glaring hole. And we've also seen Paris Johnson played right guard. So we do know he can play on the right side of the offensive line. So if we want to, move him there and keep the left tackle intact, I think it would be a good choice. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good point. The only thing I'd bring up is that how's free agency going to affect this mock, right? Because in free agency, there's going to be tackles available like Killum McGarry or like a Mike McGlinchey or whoever that the Bears probably are going to be spending money on because we have to spend so much money. So if you get a high level tackle, do you want to take another tackle like a Paris Johnson with your first pick? Like maybe not, but I kind of agree with you too, though. Like protecting Fields definitely is the biggest priority. Obviously last year we didn't have a good offensive line, so you can't really go wrong picking offensive line, especially for a guy that can play guard too. But me personally, if I had the choice, I'm a big JSN guy, maybe too big of a fan, so I'm letting my bias kind of show. Like I wanted this guy even before last year. Obviously he didn't play at all last year, so his draft stock went down. But I just think that inserting him into this offense, right, you're not going to get a true number 1 in free agency or get a true number 1 like round 2, round 3. So even though JSN may not be a true number 1, he's still a really good slot receiver. Gets open, separates, which is what Fields like. So I'd be okay with that too. And Tyree Wilson, obviously sliding down here, I feel like that would be an Eberflus guy that you would love. So you can't go wrong with either. Okay,
let's go with it. I mean, obviously from Ohio State quarterback to Ohio State receiver. Also, what you brought up, free agency will change this. I think that's called a plug for another video if that does happen. So, and also I know that the PFF board is pretty lenient on giving us tackles later on, but in the draft, if it's not addressing free agency, I would highly suggest going offensive line early. But this pick number 33, we acquired from the Houston Texans, and there actually is a right tackle on the board, or actually he played left tackle a game at right tackle this past year, Anton Harrison, who I have very high on my board. If we are still in that offensive line train, DeJuan Jones and Darnell Wright are all here. So if I'm just going to put in my 2 cents, I think offensive tackle should be the move. And
100%.
I'm curious. Do you want to go after the monstrosity of DeJuan Jones, kind of somebody who's more of a seasoned veteran in Anton Harrison, or the high upside athletic guy in Darnell Wright?
I do Darnell Wright. I don't think he's going to be available this late in real life. A lot of the draft guys think he's a number 1 tackle in the class, which I'm not sure if I agree with that, but he's up there, right? And he's an athletic freak. The one thing I'll say about DeJuan Jones, he obviously is a big monstrous guy, but he may not be the best scheme fit for the Bears, right? Because we're looking for the more athletic offensive lineman, and DeJuan Jones is not athletic really. He's like a big guy, but not athletic. Maybe it's like Orlando Brown Jr. where he can't move so much. So Anton Harrison too, I really like. I actually picked him in my last mock draft video.
There you go.
play left tackle, right? And could he switch over to right tackle? Maybe. Or move Braxton to right tackle if you have to. So I'd be okay with Anton or Darnell Wright. It's your call. Who do you want to go for?
So I was telegraphing who I wanted right there. I have Darnell Wright as my tackle one, not because I think he'll be the instant impact that maybe some other people think, but if he's trained properly, I think his ceiling's the highest. It's just rare that you find a man who's like 330, 340 who can move as fluidly as he does. But I already sent in the pick for Darnell Wright. Now at this next spot, I know that we've now gone after wide receiver as well as offensive tackle. I think a good move right here would be go edge rusher. Personally, I mean, we were debating it up there before, and we still have guys here like BJ Ojolari and Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who I'm very big fans of. But I want to bring up one name: Combine Warrior Aditamita Adebawore, the guy who's like 282, who ran a 4.49. Like, what do you think about going after an edge rusher at this pick 40, which we acquired from Carolina?
Makes a lot of sense, right? Because the Bears don't have good edge rushers right now. We don't have a good defensive line in general. And obviously you can attack them for agency, but you're not going to get multiple starters in free agency. So getting a guy to develop here would be a lot of fun. Potentially like a day one impact guy, like I added, I can't say his name, but the guy from Northwestern. They call him Tommy, whatever his last name is. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. But yeah, even the other guys you mentioned, I'll be okay with them too, because they still have high upside traits. They're very athletic. This entire class ran like crazy 40-yard dash times. They're some of the most athletic I've ever seen, honestly, at the combine. So I would say you can't go wrong with either at this point.
I'll ask you this: would you rather go after? Do you think it's a better fit for a 250-pound edge rusher or a 280?
Definitely 280. I mean, Eberflus likes the bigger guys, and the lengthier guys. So.
I mean, also Northwestern's right down the road from where Chicago's playing in Lake Forest. So they've been seeing him quite a bit, and then seeing him take that rise up is awesome. Now at pick 54, finally, we're at a pick that we originally owned. Are we looking potentially at a center here?
Could be, yeah. Is JMS available?
I do not believe. Oh, he is available. John Michael Schmitz is available. Luke Whippler is available. JMS also pretty local there in Minnesota, right down the road as well. So
he also went to a high school, I believe, locally in like near Chicagoland.
Yeah, I think so as well. So we could definitely telegraph that. Other guy, what other positions would you be targeting at this spot though, for people who are not fully aware with the breakdown of the roster?
Potentially cornerback. We need another outside corner. Opposite of Jalen Johnson. Defensive tackle, maybe, if we didn't get an interior defensive lineman, like 3 technique or whatever. That could be an option, but I'm not sure if there's any like high upside ones available right now. Because like beyond Jalen Carter, it's not a very deep defensive tackle class. So I'd say like cornerback, and then that's basically it. Because I can't think of any other position where we haven't addressed already.
So we have Keanu Benton here, which obviously playing Madison, not too far away as well. I think he's the best defensive interior on the board, and probably the only one I'd draft that's left. And he did do very well at the Senior Bowl, which is awesome. So I would say maybe go after Benton, because I would kind of roll the dice over the next 10 picks of JMS not being selected. I mean, you're making a big bet, but you still have, according to PFF's board, which, I mean, we can take advantage of that, we still have 2 centers ahead of him in Luke Whippler, as well as Joe Tippmann, which I don't agree with. But I think we're the ones who can end up profiting off of that decision. So if you're fine with me doing it, I think it's a good time to plug in Keanu Benton.
Go for it. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, let's see. And we got exactly our wish. I don't think that we really need to discuss this very much. If John Michael Schmitz is, he got taken. That's funny.
Oh my God.
That is hilarious. He got taken at pick 55 above the other 2 centers. So there's still Luke Whippler here, who I have above JMS personally. I think he's a perfectly fine fit, but obviously not that instant chemistry. Other guys of note, Garrett Williams, if you are looking for a boundary corner. I don't know if you've studied him yet. He was a top 15.
Not that much.
He was top 15 for me before he tore his ACL.
Oh, wow.
Incredible player. Incredible.
Got it.
Is safety on the radar?
I'd say no, because we already drafted safety pretty high last year, Jaquan Brisker, and we already have Eddie Jackson too, so it's not like a really big need right now.
One other thing, running back. What about Zach Charbonnet or Devon Achane?
Yeah, that's actually a good point because Monty, according to reports, is not going to be back with the Bears, and we're probably not going to go after any free agent because there's no free agents really worth paying at running back. So, I do also like a Chase Brown later on, or maybe like a Kenny McIntosh. Guys that have a lot of production in college, so you can't really go wrong waiting either. But if you want to go with Zach Charbonnet, I'd be okay with that too. I mean, he's a decent option at running back, obviously.
I know Zach and I played running back together in high school, so I might want to be a homer. Yeah.
We went wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. I love Zach. I don't think he can play in the cold. He didn't have success there at Michigan. There's a reason he transferred to UCLA. Should have went to Penn State, like I said. But it's him or Devon Achane at this pick. I actually kind of want to wait though. I like your idea of Chase Brown. Chase Brown's incredible value, and I'm gonna bet on that. So I think the best option is to go after Luke Whippler, who's a really, really solid center who's very young. So also Ohio State, very similar system. And I think he's good enough athlete as well. But yeah, so bye-bye to Zach. The reason I was bringing up safety is, one, I was a little bit out of the know in terms of the situation with Eddie Jackson long-term. But there was a guy who I really, really love in Sidney Brown who would just be such a good fit.
Oh, yeah, he's a good player too, obviously, but
so fun.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Jackson most likely is going to be locked in for the long term. He still has 2 years left, I believe, of his contract, and they love him. Eberflus loves him, so I don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay, so at pick 103, we do still have the top running backs on the board, like Chase Brown that we were talking about, Deuce Vaughn, Sean Tucker, like really good players that we could wait on. Other positions of note, if we do want to get a boundary corner, Jalen Jones I have him in my top 20. He's a little bit slower. But last year, if I'm not mistaken, what's his name? Kyler Gordon ran in the 4.5s as well. Right? I'm pretty sure it's like 4.53.
I don't remember exactly. I knew he tested really well at the vertical and everything else, but
he was very explosive. And I think Jalen Jones was as well this year. So he could fit that mold. He is 6'2", 200 pounds, surprisingly bigger than the safety that was there at Texas A&M. If I can be a homer, I'd be perfectly fine selecting Jalen Jones.
We can do that. We already have a Jalen Johnson on the roster too.
I know, So Jalen Jones and Jalen Johnson, the double J's on the outside. I love it. I mean, he was number 7 on my board for a while. He started out the year, I believe, as my corner 2 or corner number 1, and he just slipped off to corner number 3 just because of athletic things. But for a team that's willing to take a shot on him, I'd take a risk.
Work. Yeah.
So pick 134, which I believe we might have stolen this from another team. This is sent from Kansas City. Is this a compensatory pick?
I think it might be the Ravens pick because they traded a 5th for Roquan Smith as well. Right. Or it could be the Eagles pick actually because they traded away. Or we traded.
Is this the Robert Quinn pick?
Probably.
It might be that. It might be the Robert Quinn pick. Anyways, I do still see some really good running backs on the board. Unfortunately, Chase Brown just got selected right before.
Oh no.
You gotta be kidding me. I love I will give this credit to PFF. They are actually creating enough randomization where it's not going directly in order. So there's still DeWayne McBride on the board, who I think would be killer. I think Deuce Vaughn, like Mighty Mouse Deuce Vaughn. Funnily enough, he's graded out as my RB1. The guy doesn't fumble. Really? He's an absolute freak. I personally would love to put him in a Tariq Cohen role if you're fine with that. Because I think he's so good. He's so good.
How is he in? He's probably not the best pass protection back, right? Because
he's surprisingly very aggressive. Tiny. Yeah, he's not. Okay. He's not some. Yeah, he's surprisingly aggressive for his size. That doesn't say much because he doesn't have much size. But I give him like a 3 out of 5 on pass pro.
Okay.
Like he should not.
Khalil Herbert. The main gripe people have with him is that he can pass protect and he can really be a receiving option. So this would be a good pick if you want like more of the receiving back that could be like a complementary piece to Herbert.
Yeah. I think DeWayne McBride might be a better guy in terms of blocking.
Yeah.
But, it's up in the air. Which one would you prefer? When's going to be that more heavy hitter?
Yeah, I haven't looked into McBride that much. I know a lot more about Deuce Vaughn. His receiving ability, his ability to explode. I think they would obviously like that. Obviously, he is super small though, so I'm not sure if Eberflus, the coaching staff, would want that. But he's a home run hitter, and the Bears, like those. So
that's fair.
But I also think that wouldn't Deuce Vaughn slip a little bit further than this, or do you not think so?
It really depends, man. He is just so athletic. The problem is, are you willing to roll the dice on the size? The size is the only concern, in my opinion. He had a subpar offensive line at Kansas State, and he still produced incredibly well. For his size, he's able to carry guys who are literally double his weight on his back. And even in the drills, super explosive. So, I mean, for me, I just think that he's that special. I really do. I think he is Darren Sproles, essentially, coming from the same school. But
then we have to go. Then we have to go for him.
I know. I'm a homer. I had to telegraph that. I'm a little bit biased, I gotta admit. We have another pick, 137. Other positions we should be maybe looking for more depth at. What do you think?
Defensive line still, you could use help, you could use depth. Offensive line too, you could still use some depth. Now we could do a safety if there's any safeties you like, because getting a backup would be nice because we don't have much depth behind Eddie Jackson, Jaquan Brisker.
That's very fair. Looking at the safeties, there's guys like Trey Dean who put up like 20 something reps in the bench press. He led all safeties, which would be pretty cool. Good depth piece, but I don't think we need to spend pick 137 on somebody who I personally wouldn't put there. What is about the linebacker situation? Because I do.
I almost forgot about the linebackers. We need a linebacker. We could have attacked that earlier, honestly, but whoever's left over now, who's left over now at linebacker?
So, Dorian Williams, he's that type of guy who's going to be more of a designated pass rusher. He's 6'1", I believe 220. Still very solid, but definitely good in terms of rushing the passer. Cam Jones, who's one of my favorite from Indiana. Obviously, he was out most of the year with an injury, but week 1, I wrote down his name. I had no idea who the hell he was, but he's someone who pops off on tape, and I think he could definitely be a rotational starter. Besides that, you got like D Winters in here from TCU, who's super hot and cold, and then Servassier Dennis from Pitt, but Servassier is definitely a practice squad guy, most likely.
Okay. Because I'm trying to think, so we already have Jack Sanborn, who's going to be a starter no matter what. We're going to sign one linebacker probably. Maybe like probably not like a TJ Edwards, but like a Bobby Okereke maybe from the Colts. So Bobby is like more of a run defending linebacker. Jack Sanborn is also like more of a hard hitter. So who's like the best coverage linebacker, would you say? Because that might be like a need here for the Bears after free agency.
Yeah, I mean, it's really down to Cam Jones and Dorian Williams then for me. I haven't studied D Winters enough to say that he's not a good or a bad pass coverage guy, but I feel like Cam Jones is the most solid all-around guy, especially if you have an injury. I would trust him the most. Also, I believe he's not 220 pounds. Looking at his weight, he's 230. So a little bit more prototypical than a 6'1", 220. But it's up to you. Do you want Dorian Williams or Cam?
We'll do Cam.
Let's do it. Love Cam. And we have 2 more picks to go. Pick number 150. Dwayne McBride's still here. Do you want to just get power and then combine it with Deuce Vaughn? I mean, there's not that many great players here. Could be good value. Tight end.
Tight end potentially. Who are the receivers available? I was about to say.
Oh man,
I can still use more depth there.
So wide receiver wise, we still have Ronnie Bell on the board. Let's see, Puka Nacua. I love Puka Nacua. Justin Shorter, who tested very, very, very poorly compared to the way he plays on tape. He was a first-round pick for me for a very long time until the combine. Definitely doesn't look like he's going to be that at all. But to me, I think Puka Nacua, Justin Shorter, those are the guys who I would consider in this range. Then you have Bryce Ford Wheaton, who was a combine monster. We could definitely bring that into the equation, have him be like Chase Claypool's understudy.
That could make a lot of sense, because he's not going to have to start right away or play right away, even if he's receiver number 5, number 6. So, if you want to bet on the physical traits of that guy, I think that could make a lot of sense. And what are we, the 5th round right now?
5th round, pick 150. I mean, you're getting a guy who's 6'4", 6'3", and then he's like over 220 with like a 40-inch vert. And in the 4.3s, it's pretty good. It's pretty good traits to bet on, if you ask me. Depending on I'm hoping that one of my favorite tight ends falls here. So at pick number 220, I want to bring up one guy here that's not a tight end. It's a quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. I think that getting a backup QB wouldn't be a bad idea. This guy, he randomly looked extremely polished at the combine. I know you're throwing against air, but even I don't know. He just looked super polished. Just somebody who I would consider for sure. But
my only thing is go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying tight end wise, there's not really much here. If you want someone who's going to be more of an H-back, Braden Willis, he's going to be one of those dudes. 49ers love him. They had him like for like 3 interviews or something. So he's probably going to be drafted in like the 3rd round as a fullback. But, 49ers going to do 49ers things.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not really seeing much in terms of tight end talent.
Yeah, I don't think tight end would be. I mean, you could go for one if you wanted to at this point. I don't think it really matters. Like most 7th round picks are not even going to be on the roster in like 2 or 3 years. But
yeah,
I kind of like your idea of quarterback because behind Fields, we don't have necessarily like a really good backup.
Yeah,
we have Trevor Siemian, we have Nathan Peterman, which don't inspire much confidence. So I think Aiden makes sense. But the only thing with Aiden is like, how would he? Do you think is he mobile enough? Because I haven't seen much of Aiden O'Connell, but like, how mobile is he? Like, in and out of the pocket. Not that that has to be like a requirement, but like Fields obviously runs a lot. He's mobile, so
I feel like Aiden might not have the athleticism that you're looking for versus like a Jaren Hall would, but based on the quarterbacks available, I think that the talent gap was just too much. I wouldn't trust Clayton Tune. For example, I watched Clayton Tune at SMU. Like that was the game where like it was like 1,000 or like 10 touchdowns thrown by like SMU versus like 8 from him. Just not really. I feel like the talent gap is too much to warrant that. And it's like you're getting a backup QB at the end of the day. So
yeah, you can take him then. I mean, I don't think the scheme fit matters that much if you're just getting a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he doesn't have to play ever in the future.
I know. It's pick 220. After all, we got like 1,000 picks from those trades earlier. So, I selected Aiden O'Connell, and that's going to be the draft, obviously, for the people who are looking right now. Here's the breakdown of the trades. Honestly, pretty damn solid. And then, Jack Smith and Jigba, Darnell Wright, Adita Mita Adebaware, Keanu Benton, Luke Whippler, Jalen Jones, Deuce Vaughn, Cam Jones, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Aiden O'Connell. That is an A+ draft in my eyes. So
amazing draft.
Yeah,
what
that was
PFF
awesome.
Give us for the grade for this.
They gave an A-, which is pretty surprising. They usually don't like doing that for me. They don't like doing that for me very often, but that's great.
They had a great draft. They couldn't be hating on our draft right here.
No, especially when we picked up 3 first-round picks in the future or something like that.
Yeah.
Great deal. I mean, I'll take that any day of the week. But that's going to be for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to shout out your channel one more time, even though they probably already follow it.
Yeah, just look up DaWindyCity Productions on Twitter. I just do Bears content, not much other team content. But yeah, follow for like my draft reactions, my free agency reactions. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. And for you guys watching, thank you guys always for supporting. See you guys on the far side. Peace.